Seed stitch is one of my favorite stitches because it's very simple to do, but it gives you really nice texture, clean look. And it's going to be worked similarly to the way a rib stitch is worked, in that you're alternating only knit and purl stitches, but instead of maintaining the ribs going up and down the work on a rib stitch, you are going to be alternating knit and purl stitches to create these alternating little purl bumps on your work. And this is a fabric that looks the same on both sides, so it's great for reversible things. It also prevents stockinette stitch from curling. So it's another great thing to use for the edge of sweaters or the brim of a hat if you don't want to have that curled edge as you get with stockinette. It's simply an alternating knit one, purl one stitch all the way down the row. So to begin, you're going to work a knit stitch, and you want that working yarn behind the right needle to begin. And you just knit one. Then we're going to purl one, so we need to bring this working yarn to the front of the work, around the right needle, before we do that purl stitch. Now we need to take this working yarn back to the back of the work again to work the knit stitch. And it's just repeating that process, bringing the yarn forward to purl, bringing the yarn back to knit, one stitch at a time, knit one, purl one, all the way down the row. And when you reach the end of the row, you can see that every other stitch has this little purl bump. The same way it does on the back of the fabric, which is going to be what's facing us when we do our second row. The purl bumps are every other stitch. It's sort of hard to tell what your first stitch is, I find. So I usually look at the second and the third stitches to determine what the first stitch will be. So if we want to alternate these so that our purl bumps are not every single row, because that would create a 1x1 rib, since this is a knit stitch on this side, we want to go ahead and purl this one. And then we're going to knit the second stitch so that it doesn't become this purl bump. So the first stitch in this row is going to be a purl, going down into the first stitch with the working yarn at the front. Then we need to move the working yarn to the back to do that second stitch, which is knit. Pull it to the front to do purl, back to do knit. And again, just work down that row, alternating one knit with one purl, remembering to bring that working yarn forward or backward depending on the next stitch that you're working. You will begin to create seed stitch fabric. Now you can see how these purl bumps are alternating every other stitch on the back and the front of the fabric.